Mataji, when you're ready, you can start, Mataji.
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Dev. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chevam Narotayam Devi Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jaye Uddire Nisti Prayeshu Adbeshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistike. Today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Cantos 8, Withdrawal of the Cosmic Creation, Chapter 9. The Lord incarnates as Mohini Murti. We're starting out with text 11. Text 11. Sri Shukadeva Goswami continued. After the demon heard the word of Mohini Murti, who had spoken as if jokingly, they were all very confident. They laughed with gravity, and ultimately they delivered the container of nectar into her hand. Thereafter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, having taken possession of the container of the nectar, smiled slightly and spoke in attractive words. She said, "My dear demons, if you accept whatever I may do, whether honest or dishonest, then I can take responsibility for dividing the nectar amongst you." The chief of the demons were not very experts in declining things. Upon hearing the sweet words of Mohini Murti, they immediately assented, "Yes." They answered, "What you have said is all right." Thus the demon agreed to accept her decision. Text 14 through 15. The demigods and the demon then observed a fast. After bathing, they offered clarified butter and obeisance into the fire and gave charity to the cow and to the brahmanas and members of other orders of society, namely the Kshatriya, Vaishnava, and Sudras, who were all rewarded as they deserved. Thereafter, the demigods and the demon performed ritual ceremony under the direction of Brahmas. Then they dressed themselves with new garments according to their own choices, decorated their bodies with ornaments, and sat facing east on seat made of kush grass. Text 16 and 17. O king of the demigods and demons, sat facing east in the arena, fully decorated with flower garlands and lamp, and fragrances with the smoke of incense. That woman, dressed in the most beautiful sari, her anklet bells tinkling, entered the arena, walking very slowly because of her big bellow hips. Her eyes were restless due to youthful pride. Her breasts were like water jugs. Her thighs resembled the trunks of an elephant, and she carried a water pot in her hand. Text 18. Her attractive nose and cheeks and her ears, adorned with golden earrings, her face very beautiful. As she moved, her sari broadened on her breast, moved slightly aside. When the demigods and the demons saw this beautiful feature of Mohini Murti, who were glancing at them and slightly smiling, they were all completely enchanted. Text 19. Demons are by nature crooked like snakes. Therefore, to distribute a share of a nectar to them was not all feasible, since this would be as dangerous as supplying milk to a snake. Considering this, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who never falls down, did not deliver a share of nectar to the demons. Text 20. The Supreme Personality of Godhead as Mohini Murti, the Master of the Universe, arranged separate lines of sitting places and seated the demigods and the demons according to their position. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adhyalabili Sridhar Mataji, for reading translations today. So I'll offer brief prayers and we'll start. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So let us discuss briefly this wonderful section, Samvardhamantan pastime, or churning of the milk ocean pastime. This pastime is going on for several chapters now already. So hopefully we're all paying attention and absorbing in the uh, pastime and getting attracted to the pastime, not just listening to it, because these pastimes of Supreme Lord are meant to attract our heart towards Him, to pull us towards Him like that. Like Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says, these pastimes are not only like a trailer of a movie attracts us to go to the movie. Like that, when we see the pastimes of the Krishna, we should get attracted to go to Krishna and participate in these pastimes like that. And also, he talks about how the pastimes of Lord are also like a trail. That means they're a path for us to go to Lord. By becoming attracted to the Lord and His pastimes, we want to go towards Him. We want to get motivated to go further in devotion service like that. Yeah. So please benefit from this wonderful Leela that Supreme Lord has done, and meditating on not only the lessons we can learn from this pastime for growing in our bhakti, and also to get attracted to Supreme Lord and His nature itself. Nature and form also we heard in this section. So now overall context where we are, we heard how Supreme Lord engaged both the demons and demigods to make a truce and churn the milk ocean so that they can get nectar. And Supreme Lord gave them instructions that to demigods that even if something comes in the middle and uh, demons get those gifts, please don't worry, be patient. Uh, don't be anxious to get everything that comes out of the milk ocean like that. Also, he instructed them. So demigods are following nicely. So now they started churning the milk ocean, but we heard how they went through different obstacles, and Supreme Lord came in different forms to help them. Once to lift the mountain with the help of Garuda, so that they can churn the milk ocean, and then later on he became a tortoise to as a base for the churning, and then later on he became on the top of the mountain he was holding with as a Sahasra Bahu, and then he was churning on the demigod side as Ajita, and he was increasing the mode of ignorance in Vasuki, mode of passion in demons, mode of goodness in demigods, like several ways Lord is helping. So, and then from that we learned how demigods take shelter of Supreme Lord whenever they're in trouble, and then Supreme Lord helps them. Similarly, whenever we are in trouble in spiritual life, we need to take shelter of our superiors and Supreme Lord. That way, we also get the necessary help to move forward like that. And then we heard about different things that appeared from the churning of the milk ocean in the last chapter. And then we heard about Lakshmi Devi herself coming from the ocean also. And then we heard about her beautiful form and her Swayamvara, how she chose Lord Vishnu one more time as her husband like that. And then after that, we heard about Dhanvantari incarnation in the last chapter, where Dhanvantari came with a nectar pot in the hands. And then we heard about how demons, being selfish and greedy, they did not want to share the nectar with demigods. And they snatched away the nectar pot from Dhanvantari. And then after doing that, the demons were fighting amongst each other. So, because they're so selfish, right? So naturally, fights will come when we are selfish and we want everything for ourselves. So they started fighting. That time, Mohini Murti appeared on the scene. So that's the context where we are in. And the last few verses, first 10 verses, we heard about how uh, demons saw the beautiful form of Mohini Murti and they asked Mohini Murti, can you share the nectar for all of us like that? Interestingly, they use the word, can you share the nectar in a fair manner or just manner like that? So what they're doing was not just taking it away from devatas or demigods, but they want it in a fair way now like that. So then we heard about how Mohini Murti asked them, uh, told them that don't don't trust on me. Uh, like that, it's not good to trust people like me. Like that, she said in the last few verses. Now, even though Mohini Murti indirectly indicated that she's going to cheat the demons, but demons took it as like just a joke and they trusted Mohini Murti fully. So, this is another important thing to note here. Why the demons trusted Mohini Murti, even though she told that in the today's section we are hearing from 11th to 13th verses, how even though she said, she makes a direct statement. Let me read that statement so we can get to that. Yeah. So she says, my dear demons, this is in text number 12. If you accept whatever I may do, whether honest or dishonest, then I can take responsibility for dividing the nectar among you. She directly asked like that as Mohini Murti, but still is described in the next verse that chief of demons were not very expert in decision making. So they just went away with the question because Mohini Murti spoke so sweetly with sweet words. They said, yes, yes, what you have said is all right. Like that, they accepted the decision of Mohini Murti. So then we'll discuss this before going to the further verses. So essentially, one thing we can notice here is demoniac people are people with demonic tendencies. What do they do? They have this tendency that they want to impress others more than how internally they should be in a nice quality, nice integrity they need to maintain, honesty they need to maintain. More than that, they want to impress others. So why they want to impress others? To enjoy from others. For example, in especially in this scenario, we see how they're very concerned about impressing the opposite gender, opposite sex. So why? So that they can get sense gratification. So for that reason, to impress the opposite gender, to um, for sense gratification, they're ready to do anything. That is a demonic tendencies. So, that can be there in us also. So we need to be watchful for that demonic tendencies like that. So now, because of this tendency to impress the opposite gender, they try to appear like gentlemen, polite, gentle before Mohini Murti. So that's what landed them into trouble. So that's one aspect. That means they internally had the already predisposition to behave nicely when the opposite gender is there. Number one, and they're always concerned about how to impress others from external appearances like that, external appearance and behavior. That is number one. Number two, then another aspect is that when they saw the beauty, external beauty of Mohini Murti, they got so impressed that they thought the heart also will be beautiful. So that's a lesson also for us to learn. Somebody may be externally very, 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 very nice. That doesn't mean their heart is also nice. Somebody externally may not appear nice, but doesn't mean that heart is not nice. So they can be internally very, very beautiful, but externally they may not know how to speak, how to behave. They're still learning. So there are both aspects we need to remember. One aspect is just because somebody speaks so nicely and tries to be nice with us, that doesn't mean their heart is pure and they have all good intentions. That is one aspect. Second aspect is just because somebody doesn't know how to behave gently and politely, kindly, or sweetly, doesn't mean that their heart is not pure. Their heart may be very pure, they may be very nice person, but still they're still learning how to be gentle, how to be sweet, how to be polite, how to behave with others. They're still learning. So we give that benefit of doubt. This is another good quality we can cultivate as practicing devotees. That we give benefit of doubt to others. So instead of thinking that they're wrong like this, they're wrong like this, like that, we give them right. Okay, they intended well, but they don't know how to say it properly. They said it incorrect way like that. That is causing me pain like that. So like that, that's another thing we can see from here. Uh, Basically, the demons saw the beautiful form of Mohini Murti and they assumed that her heart is also disposed in the same way, beautiful way like that. So now demons agreed that Mohini Murti can take the nectar part and be the judge and distribute it properly. So somebody may think then, oh, we talked about a few different reasons why demons trusted Mohini Murti. Another important reason is the power of illusory potency of the Supreme Lord, like Prabhupada writes in one of the purports in this section. That's also a cause for them to get attracted to Mohini Murti and get bewildered and wanting to ask her to distribute nectar like that. So the power of illusion we hear in Bhagavad Gita also. Whenever we contemplate on sense objects, then we'll develop attachment. And that way, that series of things that will go on from that starting from contemplating on sense objects, finally end up in losing of memory and losing of intelligence is described. So that is what happened here. Because the demons are all geared up for sense attraction, sense gratification. They're very much contemplating uh, by seeing the Mohini Murti in terms of enjoyment. Because of that, they lost their full intelligence. So that is why they trusted Mohini Murti completely. So there is another lesson we can learn. Of course, there are many lessons in that section, but at least one lesson is that whenever we contemplate on sense objects, whenever we focused on our sense enjoyment, then we may not be able to take the right decision because the decision will be what will please me best, like that only, not what will please Krishna the best, like that. So that's another lesson we can learn. Then, so we'll see later on in this pastime how. Oh, maybe I'll go to the next section of set of verses, then we can discuss. So in text 14, 15 is described now that they gave Mohini Murti permission to distribute nectar fairly or justly. Now they got ready. How did they get ready? They're describing they observed a fast, they took a bath. Now, Prabhupada writes in the purport that for auspicious activities, you take a bath in the Ganges River or Yamuna River or one of the seas like that. And then um, they, yeah, they also put a new cloth, it is described. And Prabhupada writing in the purport, sannyasi or a pujari, they don't wear clothes that is already stitched like that is describing. So that's another detail. So interestingly, in this verse also is described, both the demigods and demons followed the directions of Brahmanas to prepare for the ritualistic sacrifices, it seems. So that's another beautiful thing that we follow the guidance of Brahmanas for doing any Vedic rituals. So they dressed themselves and they sat on the Kusha grass, which is considered very auspicious, and they are facing the east side, is described. Generally, facing the east side and north side are described as auspicious things, especially when we're doing like deity worship, uh, like that. So now in the text number 16, 17, so while they are facing like that, Mohini Murti came to the arena where they were sitting, it seems. Again, her beauty is described in amazing, amazing ways. Her eyes were restless and uh, she was appearing very, very beautiful. The nectar pot she was carrying, it appeared like a water pot she was carrying in the hand. Her facial features were very, very beautiful. Her the even golden with the golden earrings and ears and nose, cheeks. She looked very, very resplendent and beautiful. Is described like that. And then mm, is described Mohini Murti was glancing at the demons and slightly smiling. So they were all completely enchanted. So the two important points, one theme Prabhupada describes in the purport we'll discuss. Another thing is she's glancing at them with sweet smile. In the later section, you'll hear from tomorrow's class or Monday's class, you'll hear how this with this glance, Mohini Murti, Supreme Lord as Mohini Murti, captivated the demons like that. Even while pouring the nectar to the demigods, she was pouring nectar to the demigods on this side and glancing to the demons on the other side like this. So that's how she kept them captivated. And she shared nectar. We'll hear more about it in tomorrow's session, or Monday's session, like that. So that glance of the Supreme Lord is very, very powerful. And that's what captured the demons here. Now, the second theme Prabhupada emphasizes in the purport is that Supreme Lord as Mohini Murti in this female form is very, 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 very beautiful. More beautiful than Mother Lakshmi Devi also, like that is described. Generally, Lakshmi Devi or goddess of fortune is described as the most beautiful form in the female categories like that. But when Supreme Lord wants to show his beauty, when he takes a female form, he is more beautiful than Lakshmi Devi also. That's what he is describing here. In fact, our Acharyas describe that he wanted to show Lakshmi Devi, don't become proud of your beauty. See how I'm beautiful, like that. So that is another purpose is solving through serving through this pastime also is described. That he can excel the beauty of goddess of fortune or Lakshmi Devi also in the female form. Now going to the 19th verse. This is an interesting theme again. In the 19th verse is described, but because the demons are crooked like snakes, are envious like snakes. So that is why Supreme Lord as Mohini Murti decided that he will not share the nectar with them. Why? The analogy of snake is elaborated here. So for a snake, if you feed the milk, snake will not become your friend. Oh, he fed so much milk to me. Let me be nice to him. Not like that. Instead, when snake gets milk, snake will become stronger and the poison becomes stronger. And then it will come and bite the person like that. So similarly, that is why even is described that even saintly persons take pleasure in killing the envious animals like that, like snakes or scorpions like that. Similarly, his Supreme Lord did not share the nectar with the demons. So this is an important principle to learn. So because somebody might say, "Oh, Supreme Lord is not fair. He's not treating demons and demigods properly, equally." See, demigods also churn the ocean of milk. Demons also churn the ocean of milk. So both of them need to get an equal share. See, Supreme Lord is cheating them. Is taking side of demigods and cheating the demons. Somebody may think like that. So that's why Sukadeva Goswami is describing here, and also Prabhupada is also emphasizing on that point that even though demons wanted Mohini Murti to do justice, the right justice Murti is doing here because they're not obeying the laws of the Lord. They are greedy, envious. Even in the same pastime, we noticed how they're envious. When the pot of nectar came, they did not want to share with demigods. They just want to share, just want to drink among themselves. Number one. Not only they did not want to give it to demigods, Within the demons, everybody wanted to drink themselves. They kept fighting. Aham purvam, aham purvam, aham purvam. That means I am first, like that. So demigods are not following the laws of justice. So it's perfectly appropriate for Supreme Lord to deal with them. Another example we can see to understand this point of morality, how what is good, what is bad, is not just based on categorical statement, like saying truth is always good, or drinking milk is always good. Is uh, there's no morality is not just based on categorical statements, or morality is not absolute. So morality is rather contextual. For example, we cannot say killing is not good. No one should do any killing. We cannot say that statement like that. Killing is bad. We cannot say that morality should. Why? Because the soldiers who are defending our country, when they're fighting in the battlefield, they kill other opposite side soldiers. People will give medals to them. So killing in that context is not bad. But killing in the world without any authority, just like that, is definitely bad for sure. So, and it's punishable also in the world of law here, and also in the Supreme Lord's eye, also Supreme Lord justice system also. So that's one example of how morality is not categorical, but rather contextual, like that. Another example we can see in the beginning of Mahabharata war. We all know Kauravas did so much injustice to Pandavas throughout their lives in many, many ways. But then, just before Mahabharata war is described, uh, Kauravas say to Pandavas, "Oh, you know what? Oh, we need to follow Kshatriya code properly in the war, like that." So, on one side, Kauravas, what is it called? Leader. Leader has another term also in the commander. Yeah, commander in chief. Commander in chief was Bhishma Dev. They said Pandava's commander in chief was Drishtyadumna. So they all got together and they said, okay, we all need to follow the code of Kshatriyas for the war nicely, like that. Then Pandavas, Yudhishthira Maharaj responded nicely. Yudhishthira Maharaj, we know, is a man of character, man of morality, man of religion, man of dharmic principles, following, like that. Then he responded, sure, we'll follow the Kshatriya code. Even though Houston knows, all the while they did not follow religion properly. They tried to mess them up in some way or other. But still, he says, okay, we will also follow the Kshatriya code with one condition. The moment you break the Kshatriya code, you don't follow Kshatriya code, then we will also break the Kshatriya code. Like that, he negotiated in the beginning of the Mahabharata war. In fact, there are many incidents in Mahabharata war that are that are considered as cheating by Pandavas to Kauravas, cheating by Krishna to Pandavas. Those are all explained by one of this reason. This one reason also. Of course, there are many other reasons, but this is one of the main reason also explained like that. Because Kauravas first broke the code, Kshatriya code in the war, like that. Of course, I'm not expert in Mahabharata myself, but this is what I heard from some classes from Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji. So that's so morality is not categorical but contextual, like that. So that is why in this case, what Supreme Lord did to the demons by not giving the nectar is perfectly justified, like that. So that's how Mohini paid back them. In fact, Mohini Murti, Supreme Lord as Mohini Murti was perfectly enchanting them. But he also bewildered the demons, like that. This is showing Supreme Lord's omnipotence, that he can do anything with his powers, like that. So that is about until 19th verse. Now we'll go to the last verse of 20th verse. 20th verse, Supreme Personality of Godhead as Mohini Murti arrange separate lines of sitting places and seated demigods and demons according to their positions is described. So this is the last verse for today. I will not go into further Leela because there is a class Monday that will cover the rest of the details. But I'll mention a couple of things at this place. One is Jiva Goswami in his Kramasandarbha commentary, in the commentary in Kramasandarbha, he mentions how the demigods and demons were seated. They are actually sitting opposite to each other, it seems. That means one line of demigods were seeing this side, and one line of devatas were seeing the other side like that. So they were sitting facing each other like this. Like that's one thing Jiva Goswami describes. And so another thing I will mention is that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary on this Leela, he also talks about how Srimad Bhagavatam is like Mohini Murti. By the way, that commentary is not in this particular section, is a earlier section when he's glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. He says Srimad Bhagavatam also acts like Mohini Murti. How is that? So Mohini Murti, what did she do? Even though the devotees and demons put the same effort to churn the milk ocean, both of them put the effort, both of them did the same thing. But what did Mohini Murti do? Mohini Murti glanced at the demons and bewildered them. Why? She gave the nectar to the demigods. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam is also like Mohini Murti in the sense that those who have devotional attitude can read and they will get Krishna Prema. But those who do not have devotional attitude, devotional disposition in their reading or studying of Srimad Bhagavatam, then they will not get Krishna Prema. They will only get, like the glances of Mohini Murti, they will get the material benedictions primarily. So that is what is described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in this context also. Basically, we can notice in this whole pastime what is the mood of the devotees and what is the mood of demons. What is the attitude of the devotees, attitude of the demons also in this pastime. Yeah, I'll pause here. It's already 7:30. We'll continue on Monday. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhesha Kupasindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you so much, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.